joined by Brad Johnson, who had one of the best years by a quarterback in the time that I've covered this organization. Went on to win a Super Bowl, a lot of success. And Brad, now you're watching your son play at LSU. What's that like?
Yeah, it's Max. He's heading into a second year at LSU. Last year, he got to play in some games as a backup, and then started the last two games against Florida in the Swamp. They won. They were 23.5-point underdogs.
Yeah,
they beat Ole Miss in a shootout, and I've coached him pretty much out of the womb. Coached all his middle school teams and high school teams, and then now I'm a dad sitting in the stands eating popcorn. I got no control of the game and just kind of going to be there as a support for him. And it's pretty wild. He wears the number 14. He's a lefty.
there you go.
So I don't know how all that happened, but it's pretty fun just to watch my son now.
And you're coaching quarterbacks too in high school, aren't you?
Right. We're at Coney County High School in Athens, Georgia. Went to the state championship last 2 years in a row. We lost in 2 heartbreak games and didn't quite get it done, you know what I mean? But I have fun coaching. Sometimes I'm the water boy and equipment guy and all those kind of things too, kind of know my role. It's high school football, so I just kind of enjoy that.
You know, it's funny because a lot of guys end up coaching high school ball. They want to coach, but they don't necessarily want to coach in the NFL and put up with the lifestyle that the NFL requires. Did you ever think about coaching beyond that, or do you just say, this is the level I want to be at?
When I got done, I'd been 17 years in the NFL. My kids were like 4 and 6 years old at that time, Max and Jake, and we live in Athens, Georgia. I really just want to be with my kids, to be honest with you. Coached all the youth football team. One year I had 5 different basketball teams and 2 different football teams in the same year. So I was just living in gym, ball fields, and those kind of things. And now just a volunteer coach at the high school. But I did not want to get into TV. I didn't want to travel every weekend and feel the pressure of commentating on games. And then I really didn't want to get into coaching and worry about getting fired. I really just want to coach my kids and enjoy my family life.
And then become a TikTok star.
That's right. That's right. I've had a lot of fun with, I call it's Big Bad Brad 14, did a lot of trick shots and kind of put them out there for everybody to enjoy. It gets me a lot of exercise though. So I have fun doing it and just kind of kill some time too.
Well, what's the story behind these trick shots? Because, I mean, they're not easy.
Right. I played basketball growing up in North Carolina. I was a 3A player of the year in North Carolina. Played 2 years in college, and I can put together somehow. I just have fun doing these things. Growing up, all I did was skills and drills and try to kill. I mean, I just wanted to. I mean, it was all about. I would never do a hook shot or never try a trick shot. It was all about trying to win a game. Things that would happen in a game. Now I just try to get some exercise with it, and it may be a spin off my finger, it may be over the backboard, it may be trying to throw a football full court length, but usually it's like a 3 or 4 shot sequence kind of thing. It's never just a one shot deal edited. So I have fun doing it and see if I can actually do it. I've done 6 or 7 of them I haven't been able to accomplish, and I walk off. Actually, I did one today. I was out there for about 2 hours, and I left in a pure sweat, but I'm close, so close. But it's a lot of pressure on that last shot to hit it. And if you don't make it, then you got to go back to the drawing board.
Well, you had the first one I saw was, I think you spun it and shot it, and then you threw the football down too.
Yeah. There usually will be a 3 or 4 shot sequence, whatever the order is. I like to kind of finish it off with a football throw the length of the court and try to make it into the bucket. And
how hard is that?
It's pressure. I mean, I kind of lick my fingers and try to make it, but I have fun with it, and it just it keeps me busy and keep me active. But it's not just easy. It's going to be something that if you're going to go out there and try it, you're going to either have to be lucky or be really, really good at it.
You get a kick out of it because, like, you know, you won a Super Bowl, you played quarterback in the NFL for a long time, and now you have people knowing you as a TikTok guy.
It really is funny. We were at the Hall of Fame this past weekend. I was up here with John Lynch and Tampa Bay Bucks, and everywhere I walked, he's like, "Man, there you are. There's the TikTok guy. There's the TikTok guy, man." You know, and I always say, "Which one's your favorite one?" You know, so it's kind of going around. I put it on Twitter and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, and I think people kind of getting to kind of see some stuff. I'm 50. I'm turning 53 next month, so trying to stay active, but it's kind of neat to kind of show off some of those skills.
So you played till you were 40. Washington has a quarterback now, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's 38 years old and is having, I wouldn't say a career similar to yours because yours was different, but there's a journey where you're progressing as you get older. how much have you been able to watch him, and what have you thought about the journey that he's been on?
Yeah, I actually played against Ryan when he was in St. Louis his first year. When I was in Minnesota, played against him. I've had a couple of people that have played with him, especially when he was younger. Way more athletic than you would think.
Right.
Very, very strong arm, very deceptive speed-wise, and just athleticism kind of thing. His career, he's put up, it's amazing. Like, you think of a guy like Steve DeBerg, played a long time, threw for a lot of yards, and played with some other great quarterbacks. Ryan's kind of similar kind of career in a similar way, in a weird way, but been on a bunch of different teams. He's played a bunch of football, extremely smart, won a bunch of games. And then, it's neat that he gets another opportunity to be a starter again, So he's earned that right. He's won some big games, and his biggest thing is be able to, can he lead a team the whole season?
Right.
And can you win playoff games? That's where you earn your money as a quarterback. You got to win playoff games. And he has that talent. And, I'm sure he's grateful to get another opportunity.
How hard is it, though, to compete when you keep getting to that stage, to feel like, because he says that he feels like he's playing his best ball of his career. How hard is it to be at that age and to be able to say that? Because it's, it's not easy.
Right. I do think with the off-season programs that they've done, guys can kind of get themselves in shape.
Okay.
To be honest with you, you're not wearing and tearing in March and April. You can kind of get yourself ready throughout the course of the season to be ready for. Even training camps aren't as hard as they used to be. You know what I mean? They're really not the long 5-week two-a-days. I mean, so you can be in shape and be ready for it, not be worn down.
Okay.
He keeps himself in great shape. His arm can throw all day. He'll be able to throw till he's 50 or 60 also. So, but he's a guy that can make a lot of plays. The biggest thing as you get older or you've been through a lot of transitions, having someone believe in you. That's the biggest thing. Having the opportunity. Sometimes I tell people it's harder to have a chance to be the starter than it is to be successful when you are the starter, because it's just how you're going to get the opportunity, someone to believe in you to be the guy, especially at that age.
Yeah.
Yes, but he's on I think they're in a great situation. You got Mark Mayhew there now as a general manager, and Ron Rivera. You got a team that made the playoffs last year. It wasn't the way you want to get in, but they won. I think they saw a recipe for success with Alex Smith, that you can win a lot of different ways. And I think Ryan will he's an explosive player now. He can throw for a lot of yards. He can throw for a lot of touchdowns. Sometimes he might have a crazy game where he turns it over, and he's had that. It's been well documented, but he can win a lot of games for you too now. So I'm excited for him,
Yeah, and you considered yourself a late bloomer, but to me, late bloomer just means you keep grinding and you finally get your chance. Did it almost like that, or did you just feel like, hey, every year you're learning something that improves your game in addition to grinding?
Well, when I say late bloomer, I was a basketball player. I wanted to go to college to play basketball, and I actually played 2 years. But I wasn't taught the way kids are taught now in middle school of 3 and 5 step drops. All I could do was chunk a ball. I didn't have a passion for the game. As I got later in my college career and then in my pros, that's when I kind of developed my passion for the game and developed my skill set and knowledge of the game. But for Ryan, he just, he was grinding to get an opportunity from the get-go. And he's had a bunch of opportunities to start for all these teams he's been on, but he's done well at the same time. But the difference, the cool thing for him, obviously he's been in every system you can imagine, is how he will collaborate with Scott Turner. Right. And he's a quick learner. He's smart. So that part of it will be pretty good. It's just a matter of them being on the same page as far as like Ryan not saying, this is what I did with the Jets, or this is what I did with the Dolphins, or this is what I did in Tampa, and them kind of collaborate what's best for his game and for what they need from him at the quarterback position for that particular team they got this year.
And you played for Scott's dad in '99, had a great year. And it's funny because I don't know if you remember if Scott was tied to the goalpost that summer or not. But first of all, do you remember Scott from back then? Did you have much interaction with him?
Yeah, I did. He was a young kid. He was in high school trying to win a starting job.
Yeah.
I remember he'd be on the back of the bus with Charlie Castro, and Scott would be like, why'd you pick this guy? Why'd you do this? In those conversations, like, he loved football. You knew he was going to be a coach. He had deep conversations with, what are we doing on this particular play? And, obviously got great knowledge from his dad. And you knew he was going to be a successful coach at an early age. That was in his destiny. So
did you like that style? Because I know that things evolved. What they ran in 99 and 2000 is going to be evolved in 2021. But there's a shell to that offense. Did you like playing in that offense?
I love playing North system. I think it fit me great. I feel like I'm a play action kind of guy. I was one of the last quarterbacks to ever take every snap of the season in 2003 underneath center. So I feel like I was a better guy underneath center than shotgun was kind of coming into play late in my career. I don't know if that was my comfort level, but I felt like I was a great play action guy. North system would let you. We had some great runners, Stephen Davis and Skip Hicks, and so I felt like that was my game. Heavy run dose, take a lot of shots, hit the checkdowns when you needed them, and so I felt it was a great fit. The game has evolved. The game has changed, completely different from then. Didn't know what RPO was.
Right.
At that time, we were just running the play that was called. Then you get into full field reads, then you get into audibles and kill packages, check packages, and then being able to audible out of that also. So the game is, it's changed quite a bit.
Sure, and but there, like I said, there's a shell of that system, and it did allow you to attack downfield. And I think Ryan seems to like that aspect of this offense as well.
Ryan's got an arm. He likes to take chances. He likes to sling it. You do have to change the field. You do have to change. When you want to throw it, those kind of things. So I think Ryan's with their defense, they're going to be in just about every game.
Right.
You really feel like they are. And I feel like his play, it kind of reminds me of when Rex Grossman was with Chicago Bears. Rex, they went to the Super Bowl. They had a tremendous defense, and Rex was the kind of quarterback that would take a lot of chances. And if he made some mistakes or turned it over, it didn't kill the team because they could get a lot of stops.
Right.
So I feel like this might be a good fit for the way Ryan plays, the way Scott will play call it, and they got a chance to have, be a pretty good team.
How much do you look back on that Super Bowl year, and what does that still mean to you?
It's incredible. I mean, it validates that, when you come in the league, they say you're graded on, can you win a Super Bowl? And then not long can you get there, you got to win it. It's hard to get there. It's hard to win it when you're there too. And so I was on the right team,
right?
Got hot at the right time. But I felt like there was 3 or 4 other teams I was on too that we were in the playoffs or whatever. We just didn't accomplish the goal of winning it. It's hard to win a game in the National Football League. It's hard to get to the playoffs. And then not long win 2, 3, and then maybe you have to win 4 games to win the whole thing. But, I felt like it validated my career that I could lead a team, be the best team in the world, be the best quarterback in the world for that moment. Led the NFC in passing that year. Probably didn't get a lot of notoriety or credit because of the defense that we had in Tampa. But if you look at the points that we scored and the way we scored and then the way we close games out, a lot of times you wouldn't get a lot of stats with the way Gruden called the plays in the second half because we'd have leads and then you kind of grind it out. So you might throw for 180 yards in the first half and throw for 30 in the second, just closing it out. So, but it was an awesome opportunity to say that you were a world champion and to put that in your resume.
Did you think that 99 team could have done something like that?
My first year?
The first year in Washington, yeah.
The year before when I got there, they had 63 sacks.
Right.
And I asked the first thing Norv, I said, how's our line play? He said, Brad, don't worry, we'll have it handled. And that next year, I don't know where we're less than half of that.
Right.
But that team was a team on the rise. And it wasn't a Super Bowl that team was trying to get an identity. And we ended up going 10-6. To close out with the Dolphins, and then we won our first playoff game at Detroit at home, and then we lost to Tampa in a crazy game down there. But that was a fun year for a lot of guys on the team trying to get an identity to a lot of our careers, and then just for an organization that hadn't won in a long time. To be honest with you, it'd been a long time since they made the playoffs and that kind of thing. So it's kind of a fun year.
So it's a fun year, and then they go and the owner, Dan Snyder, wanted Jeff George to come in too. For a guy who comes off the year you did, at the time, what did it feel like? And when you look back now, what do you think?
They were trying to make every move. They obviously brought in, Deion Sanders and Bruce Smith and the list of everybody that came in. You know what I mean? So those are moves you want to make. You really do. But we just didn't get it done.
Right.
Didn't get it done. That's all you can say. And then there was a lot of division probably between ownership and coach and who should be playing or what they should be doing or what we should be accomplishing. You know what I mean? It's not just a game of etch a sketch and and you're just gonna win games. You have to build a chemistry, build a team kind of thing, and then you got to win and produce. And we didn't produce the way we needed to that year, but there was a lot. It seemed like there's just turmoil and division almost from the get-go.
Right.
And I remember I remember in training camp, I remember every scout from every team.
Because it was open, because they were able to come. Yeah.
Training camp was open. So we charged money and they
yeah.
can come and, you can learn every play if you want to sit there for 50 practices. You know what I mean? So
and I think they did.
Slow start with 1-2. And then, we finished the season
8-8.
we finished the season 8-8. Yeah.
And Norv got fired.
Yeah. I think it's the second time in maybe 50 years or something that a head coach had gotten fired at that time with a winning record. You know what I mean?
Correct. Yep.
Norv had been there a while. There's probably some division as far as what should have been accomplishment, what we should accomplish that year. I love playing for Norv Turner. He stuck up for me, and I'm grateful for the opportunity I got to play for him. And I'm 100% believer in Norv Turner, no doubt about that.
And if I recall, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but if I recall, you did go into Dan's office. You did go into Dan's office during the spring.
It's not about Jeff George. We talked about some stuff about contract wise. Basically, if I said if we didn't get it done by a certain period of time, I wasn't going to sign.
Okay.
And so we'd had some negotiation talks that took place, but Charlie Cassidy wasn't there, the guy that traded for me, and so they were going to change, and so it didn't happen.
The other thing I remember too, and I don't know what your memory of this is, the last game that you were here, because you knew at that point you were gone. So last game, Larry Centers needs 7 catches to get a $250,000 bonus. There you go. Because I remember Rick Snyder and I were talking to you, I think it was on that Friday, and right. Rick knew about that. And the funny thing is, you left the game after he had 5 catches, and Todd Husak on the last series, I think it is, gets him 2 balls. But do you remember that? And was that a big point of emphasis that game?
Yeah, we were going to make the playoffs that year.
Right.
Last game of the season, I got to start again, and ended up being 7-4 on the team that went 8-8.
Right.
But that was Larry Centers. Larry Centers is an unbelievable player. Ended up winning the Super Bowl with the Patriots later on.
Yeah.
He needed a bonus. And I remember talking to him about the walkthrough before. I think we were supposed to run nickel 40, which is basically a draw at the end of the half.
Right.
And I said, hey, dude, I'm not going to hand it to you. I'm going to give you a little shuffle pass. And so I gave him, I think, 1 or 2 right at the end of the half. And I think Todd Husak, he gave him 1 maybe at the end of the game. So, but well deserved for Larry, man. I mean, end of the season, but he caught all those balls and tremendous playmaker. And guys at that point, not usually those things don't come into play, but at that point, at that time of the game, then good for him.
And the funny thing is too, Brad, Marty Schottenheimer comes in the next year. It seems like you would have been a good coach or good player, quarterback for a guy like that, and that team could have done something more. I don't know if you ever look back and think of it like that, but I kind of look at that and think, you'd have been a good fit with him.
Yeah, Marty did reach out and see if I wanted to come back. So there was a chance I could have come back.
Okay. But
at that point, we had made a decision. It was just time for everybody to move on. Marty needed to come in with a new start. I had a lot of respect for him, but it's just time that we moved on and separated ways. There wasn't any hard feelings. That's part of the moves you make in football. For me, I had to make a personal decision, a business decision. Sure. I felt like I needed to go somewhere where it was just a better fit overall.
And it seemed like, and correct me if I'm wrong though, but was it awkward for you and Jeff? And I don't remember necessarily being clashes with you guys, but was it awkward?
Jeff and I got along really well.
Yeah, that's what I
Really
remember.
did. There was respect. He'd been in Minnesota. He came in after I did. We had a lot of the same relationships with the people in Minnesota, a lot of common things to talk about. So Jeff and I really never had any conflict. I mean, obviously somebody's got to play, somebody's got to
Right.
start. I think after we went 6-3, we had a Monday night game. I had an injury. I had
Right.
an MCL. I sprained my MCL. So I was out for 3 or 4 weeks maybe. And then I came back and played against the Giants. And then that's when North Turner got fired.
Right.
And then Jeff played the rest of the season. I played the last game of the season. But no, Jeff and I got along well. There wasn't any conflict between us at all.
It's funny because like I look at this franchise, and one of the reasons I want to reach out to you too is because it's been so hard for this franchise to find that guy. And I don't even know what the question is necessarily, because you could have been that guy for a while. I mean, how hard is it, when you're trying to, in a situation like that, like, again, do you look back and say, we could have built something there had they given us that opportunity?
Yeah. That was one place I would have wanted to stay.
Mhm.
I've always told my wife, Nikki, and close friends, I wish it would have worked out in Washington. It's just it was a childhood favorite team of mine.
Yeah.
Growing up as a kid. Had a great first year there. Ended up going, I don't know, had a winning record there, 7-4 and 10-6 or whatever. That's 17 and what? I don't know, 17 10.
Yeah, something
Went
like
to
that.
won the division, went to the Pro Bowl. Wish it would have worked out, but at that time, things were just, there's some differences of where I wanted to be in my career. And Snyder, they gave me the opportunity to come back with Marty Schottenheimer being as the head coach. So it wasn't a turmoil like people made it out to be between me and Dan Snyder. There wasn't really that. There's differences of opinion on certain things, but not that. I think they were just in transition of who's the next head coach and who the certain players that they want to have. So I just made a business decision for me. It wasn't a bad feeling. It was just time to move on.
But it is funny how hard it is to find that guy, and how important it is to find that guy, because I'll be honest, like before you came to Washington, they had been looking for a guy. They had Heath, they had Gus, they had Trent for half a year as a starter. But I remember Norv basically like, if I can get that guy to operate this offense, watch. And you kind of like, okay. And then you come in and it's like, oh, wow, that's what it should look like. But it's hard to find that guy.
And Troy Aikman playing there. That was what I was told going into that. I felt my style of play, like we talked about earlier,
right?
The play action style, to take the shots, find the checkdowns when you need them. I did feel like it was a great fit. We won the division. The next year, it's just kind of up and down. End up 7-4 as a starter. Sometimes you got to have a little patience,
right?
Too. It's not just all on the quarterback. It's not just all on the line. It's not all on the defense. Like, it's a team game. It really is. And things were, Charlie Cassidy is the one that made the trade for me. He wasn't there. Then you fired Norv, and it was just in transition. So it didn't work out. It was unfortunate. I wish it would have worked out and I could have played a 10-year career there. It's where I wanted to be. But at the end of the day, we all went on our separate ways. We all had successful careers.
Yeah.
It's hard, for Washington. They have drafted, I think, 3 guys early, maybe Patrick Ramsey and Robert Griffith and Kirk Cousins, and then Dwayne Haskins last year. But, you got to be patient with those guys. You do. And there's got to be a plan for them.
Right.
And then you hope it's, you get into a deal with Kirk Cousins and it's a contract deal.
Right.
There's an injury deal with Robert Griffith. Like, every situation is different. So I feel like intentional, they've made some good moves. But there's been a lot of movement with either general managers or coaches or players, or just having the right fit, just taking their time. So I honestly feel they have a chance to grow right now. Obviously, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's older, but then I do feel like they got the right general manager right and the right head coach right. So I hope it works out well for them.
Last thing, Brad, and I appreciate your time, and I always enjoy talking to you. So this is fun for me. But how is your health? I mean, you played a long time. I know that you had some knee issues back in the day. How is your health?
Health-wise, I'm making my TikToks, so I'm staying healthy. I'm moving around. I can play golf. I can do those things, but I will need 2 knee replacements. No doubt about that. Probably sooner rather than later. I grinded hard on the field and workouts, playing every sport you could do, whatever I had to do to be there. But I will do 2 knee replacements. But other than that, I'm pretty healthy.
Are you still in your early risers basketball league?
Well, I'm not doing that. We actually practice our high school teams at 6 a.m. every day. So we do that. But after we do practice, I'm either working out or trying to make a trick shot out in the backyard. You know?
There you go. Brad, great catching up with you. Thanks for doing this.
There you go. I appreciate it, John. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Awesome, Brad.